Gentlemen, at this time, we want to welcome you to our broadcast here at Focus on Liberia. Good afternoon for those of you here in the United States, those in Europe where Mr. Fenwick is. I don't know if I can say good evening there. And welcome to Focus on Liberia. Today is Thursday and is our Thursday special. In this Thursday special edition of our show, we are having an exclusive interview with Mr. Fenwick, who will be introduced later by my partner, uh, Willem. He is an investor in Liberia. He is looking into investing into Liberia in many areas, and we thought to talk to him today about his intentions and efforts being made in Liberia. He has been investing here and there in other countries, especially Africa, we pay attention to a little more. And so, welcome to the broadcast. At this time, I will ask you to do us that usual favor by hitting that share button. Mr. Fenwick has interest investing in the housing sector in Liberia. Our understanding is that he has started some work already. And last time he was here with housing director Celia Brown, and we had an interview with both of them. So we thought to have him alone this time to ask some questions about the work he has been doing in other countries and now Liberia. William, I'm all set. Let's get started.
Thank you very much, Anthony. To all of our listeners and viewers, thank you for joining Focus on Liberia. We ask you to please share for folks who want to share based on the people that they know. If you know me, William King, and you feel the need and want to help us support Focus on Liberia, we encourage you to please share. As Anthony said, what I'm going to do, we're going to jump straight into this. I'm going to first read our disclaimer, and then I'm going to give a little introduction about the topic. And then from there, Mr. Fenwick, and then we're going to get right into it. And today we have this guy, and he's going to be on the cool seat, the mild seat, and also going to be on the hot seat, which is our bitter ball seat, actually asking many questions as we are curious and wanting to know how this is going to work with the housing stuff. So without further ado, let me read our disclaimer. The content is for informational purposes only. You should not construe any such information or other material as legal, tax, investment, financial, or other advice. Nothing contained on our media or written documents constitute a solicitation, recommendation, endorsement, or offer by Focus on Liberia or any third-party service provider to buy or sell any securities or other financial instrument in this or in any other jurisdiction in which such media material may be shared. All content on this site is for information of a general nature and does not adjust the circumstances or any particular individual or entity. Nothing in the media constitutes professional or financial advice, nor does any information on the platform constitute a comprehensive or complete statement of the matters discussed or laws related thereto. Focus on Liberia is not fiduciary by virtue of any person, use, or access to the media content. Ladies and gentlemen, what we are saying is that we are not professional licensed financial advisors. Before making any kind of financial investment decisions, we advise you to consult the necessary investment advisors, which is not Focus on Liberia. So, all right, folks, so let's get into this. Real estate development. Let me lay the groundwork real quick. Now, for Liberia, according to the Africa Housing Finance Yearbook 2019, this is a report that is available for all online. The total number of mortgages outstanding is 65, while the number of non-performing mortgage is 30, and that is 2018 data numbers. Value of residential mortgage outstanding is about 2.5 million, while the value of non-performing mortgage is about $1.1 million. So basically for every 2 mortgages that is performing, meaning it's getting paid on time, there's 1 mortgage that is not getting paid on time. And the total package of our mortgage in Liberia is underneath $4 million. Now, the average cheapest home, according to this report, costs $19,000 to build. And the urban household that can afford this, according to the number, is $500. So can we realistically expect to see an investor interested in building homes to be built that would cater to well-off Liberians or Liberians in Liberia? Well, that is a question that we're going to be looking to explore. Furthermore, the mortgage sector is practically non-existent, and if so, the alarming non-performing, people who are not paying with that ratio of 1 to every 2, might cause concern for a builder or foreign investor. So we may think, but Mr. Ian Fenwick is here to provide maybe some other insights. Furthermore, currently at the moment, there are no banks currently in Liberia offering financing for the diaspora. The current bank in Liberia that is offering any mortgage is LBDI, and you have to come up with 30% down. Furthermore, the majority of solid employment in Liberia is government and a little bit from the informal sector. The average civil servant salary is $300 to $450 a month at best, with an inconsistency because government does not pay on time, or inconsistent with the pay, or the pay is scattered all over. And the current economic and political situation with the recent death of those 4 auditors, the LRA with the Ministry of Finance, the $25 million over 3 years, that's, we don't know where it's at. Central Bank and Ministry of Finance, $16 billion. We don't know where the container is. And the US, $25 million disbursement and Proposition 1. So it is within all of this context. We have Mr. Ian Fenwick, who looks at Liberia and say, you know what, there might be something here. And so we will be speaking to him and just wondering, is it really something here? We've recently seen in Liberia where folks come and with the introduction of Putu Mine many years ago. And Sebestro bought that deal, and they said they were going to build 150 kilometers of rail. And at this moment, we have yet to see this. Now, let's get into a little bit of background reading for our guy, Mr. Ian Fenwick. He's the founder and CEO of ALR Project Limited, a UK company working in association with Clifton Africa, an international investment organization for our housing and investment projects in Liberia. As an entrepreneur, deal maker, the wealth of experience I've gained over 40 years, Mr. Ian says, has given me a unique, over-the-horizon natural vision and ability to recognize and create business opportunities where many others fail to look. Liberia is a perfect example of a country with vast potential being overlooked by so many. He has had about 5 visits to Liberia. He is working with the National Housing Authority and the directors and meetings with a lot of folks there to make sure that this investment endeavor is fruition. On his spare time, other than being a businessman, he's also the chairman and coach of a large UK Football Association youth football club in Worthing in Sussex. As we progress in Liberia, his ambition is to form an affiliation and sponsorship arrangement with a Liberian youth football organization. And up to recently, we see Mr. Ian Fenwick has made the nation of some jersey. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I think I've given a well-laid introduction. Right now, we just go to Mr. Ian and say, tell us a little bit briefly about yourself, something that is not in the bio. Go ahead.
Hi, William. Thank you very much for that rather flattering introduction. So, you covered most of it in the bio. But as you stated, that I'm a businessman, a deal maker, an entrepreneur, and the working with the team that we have a combined wealth of experience with investments, construction. So we have all the components required for the projects that we want to be working on in Africa and in Liberia in particular. And where you say that others have been before and not failed, that didn't deter us at all. What that actually that gave us the ambition to say, well, this isn't actually this isn't a deadbeat situation. There is a great deal to be offered here. What we can offer and what the people of Liberia can offer as well, and the diaspora. I think a lot of the people that have been there on business in the past, which I've been studying, have not considered the diaspora. Just last week, we had a meeting with the ambassador, Gibson Schwartz, the UK ambassador, and her first question was, are you going to be making this available to the UK? I know it's just a small percentage to what you have in the US, to the diaspora. And said, absolutely, yes. Why would we not do that? So that since my last interview with you and the communication since then, that's become quite a doable topic.
Thank you very much. So Ian Anthony, I will hand this over to you. Go ahead.
All right, and well then, thank you so very much. And Ian, again, we are glad to have you. And we want to say thank you for your desire to go into Liberia and invest. Like Willen said, if you look at all the economic indicators in Liberia, you have more reasons to be discouraged other than encouraged to go in that terrain. But you are a businessman, you just said, and you are also a deal maker. Maybe you see the possibility of making a deal in the maze of what some people might, consider as, uncertainty, to still make an investment, not only to benefit you as a businessman, but also to help with investment in Liberia. So let's get started quickly. Tell us, first of all, which of these sectors in Liberia you are looking at? One, two, how many? Specifically, tell me which ones.
Well, it's in particular, I've been going there for nearly 3 years now. So this isn't an overnight ambition. I went there 3 years ago, and I've just returned in September, and I'm going back again next week for my 6th visit. But it's always on the agenda when I'm back here in the UK or elsewhere. But it just seems to be that the way that the country is going, but we're looking in from the outside, we take an awful lot of advice and an awful lot of studies. We have research teams in the UK, and we are looking from the outside in. And what we can see is that the housing market is something. When I saw some fabulous housing developments out there when I was there in September, and we just think, well, actually, it can be done and it can be scaled up. We're not going in there to build, 500,000 homes to start with. We're going in there to start on 1, then 2, then 3, then 4 community housing communities, and so of all ranges. So the way that we saw this for the ambition for Liberia, it may be actually likened to the people watching this in the US is a fantastic quote from the Field of Dreams. If you build it, they will come. There are other countries in Africa that are a lot further down the line on becoming as developed countries, but people have already done it there. We just felt that the situation now in Liberia is we see from the outside stability. No one's really taking much notice of economic growth at the moment because pandemic has just put everything on hold. But we started this before COVID, and hopefully with the recent announcements of a vaccine, in 6 months' time, we'll be looking at this behind us. So we're just seeing it as a very, very worthwhile long-term project for investment. We can't. It's not foolish investment. It's well judged and well researched.
Thank you, and please specifically tell me and my listening audience how far are you? At what stage you are now in this investment effort that you have started in Liberia? In the housing sector, where are you?
Right, so we're at the stage now where when we go back out next week with our investment team and housing engineers, we will be more specific. I don't want to say on live broadcast tonight because it could change. We'll be more specific about the very first area where we're going to build. We have 3 or 4 that we're going to look at, but we need to start with one. We're not going out there to start in 5 different developments. We need to start with one. So literally before Christmas, we'll have the land allocated and ready to start building. We plan to be doing this, literally start putting the groundworks in as soon as January.
So, Mr. Fenwick, from what you're telling me, because you are talking about work going on, if I got you rightly. So, are you done with the registration of your business in Liberia? Are you being certified by the government to operate?
That's all the things that we're doing when we go out there next week. There was obviously with the midterm elections next week, we just didn't want to have anyone out there being distracted by that. We just felt that we should pay respect to the country. That's an internal matter for them to deal with. We don't want to get involved in politics. We felt that our presence there in the few days leading up to the elections could be a distraction for us and others. So that's why we put our trip off until a week after the elections. So all those matters.
So no agreement has been signed with your company and the Liberian government as yet.
We've signed project development agreements. We've signed MOUs. So it's the final agreements that we can't do that until we have the final stage of the project we're working on with LBDI Bank for the mortgages and the funding of it,
right,
and also the land. So that we expect to have that done when we're there at the end of next week.
So legally, is it safe to say that you are an operating investment company in Liberia now? Can somebody say that?
No, we're not. We're actually an operating company in the UK.
Okay.
And we're going to be working with the National Housing Authority to deal with all that side of the Liberian business matters. We're meeting with business advisors, government advisors when we're there next week.
So tell me, is things going to be like a partnership? Because you just mentioned the Liberia Housing. Are you going to partner with the Housing Authority to develop these homes, or you as a company going to secure a contract to carry on your own investment in Liberia, meaning building homes that you will be able to rent or sell to people? How is it going to be? Tell me.
Right, there's still a few grey areas on that, Anthony. So the intention is we are in the process of creating a public-private partnership, a tri-party partnership with the National Housing Authority and LBDI Bank because of the mortgages, which I'm sure we'll be speaking about in great detail shortly. So it will actually be a public-private partnership that we're creating. We're not going in there as the builder, the land grabber to just build and then sell. We don't have the in-country experience to do that. It'd be crazy for us to go in to do that without the experience and the cooperation of an authority as capable as the NHA.
So, Mr. Fenwick, we are looking at this, and we're looking at the layout of the land. And of course, you said, one of the things is you believe that if they build it, they will come. Maybe as the first approach to this, share us a little bit from the real estate side. Have you done a real estate development in any other place on the continent before?
Yes, we have. We're currently developing a project of 1,500 affordable apartments for the Ministry of Works and Housing in Ghana. We've got several private projects, smaller projects on the Ivory Coast. And for the last 5 years, I've been working on a project in East Africa, but the political situation there is probably not for discussion on a show like this. It's a little bit unstable.
Yes. What has been your role, if someone were to say, what is your role with the real estate development side of the house? Are you from the design? Are you the one that connects the financing with the bank? And do you go out there with the hard hat? What's your role?
You may have seen some photos on my Facebook from my last trip out there. Yes, I was out there with a hard hat. I personally have no experience in real estate. I can claim that. I took pictures, lots and lots of pictures, and then sent them all back to our team. But when we go out there, we'll be going out there with civil engineers, and I think there's probably 6 of us that'll be going. So my role in all of this is I'm the deal maker. I put things together. I was the first one to go out to Liberia. I saw it as an opportunity 3 years ago. Went out there on a whim, but it was with a bit of background information first, and then came back and started putting all the pieces together. I'm 62 years old. I've got 40 odd years experience. So there's this whole, you couldn't put a project like this together without a group of people. So we have a group of companies with a combined wealth of experience in all the sectors that are required on a project like this. So we have the Clifton in particular, who I've been working with in East Africa as well. I've known these people at Clifton for 25 years. So it's not a new association, and we're not the land clearer, we're not the builder, we're not the real estate company. We're the people that put it all together. So, but the whole point about this is that we're not going in to just build houses. Our intention is to employ and train local workforce. That's all of this can be done much more cost effective in Liberia. It's not our intention to bring people over. Obviously, there'll be managers, there'll be trainers. But the whole idea of this, which has been, from my 3 years of research, is to training local employment. This is quite low level. You don't need to be such a highly skilled person. These are all the skills that are required for this are trainable, and by doing this, it has a multitude of benefits for everyone in the country. I mean, I try not to be political because I don't have a political
Mr.
opinion. Yeah,
Mr. Fenwick, I really want to know. I know you say you are a deal maker and you are a businessman. I want to know: are you an investor? I'm for some reason I feel there's a huge difference between a deal maker, a businessman, and an investor. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. I want to know if you are an investor.
Personally,
you are an investor.
Yes, of course I am.
Okay,
yes.
So to William's question, you said you are in Ghana, the Ivory Coast, and other places in Africa where you are carrying on, housing development. In those countries, did you put in money? That's one question. Second, if you did not put in money as an investor, do you secure funding for other companies? And so as you do this, more like a middleman, if the scenario I'm drawing, you understanding it. So how do you tend to benefit in that?
Right. Okay. So it's obviously not appropriate to talk about my own personal level of my own personal investment in this, but the way that it works, because we're a development organisation, we have investments in other countries in other sectors. So we don't just take other people's money, investors' money, then go and build houses. We take investment into our organisation, into our company. It's a group of companies. It's not just one company. So there's combined wealth in there, personal and institutional wealth that goes into that to give a funding pot for the projects that we work on.
So basically, you are connecting developers to investors, and then there is an investment. Did I get that correct?
We're the developers.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But the board of directors, more so on Clifton, which is all available on the website. I mean, it's quite an impressive board of directors. Mm-hmm. They have their connections within the UK and international wealth. I mean, the CEO of Clifton, Kim Richardson, has about 40 years experience as an investment banker. So at one stage, owning his own investment bank in the UK. So you just end up with a whole wealth of connections. So and then there's they look at opportunities. Investment houses, investment organisations are always looking for opportunities in sectors and in countries that they see as a viable risk analysis. Obviously, it has to be. Look at, and it's long-term return on profit, return on investment as well.
Mr. Fenwick, this is definitely some good stuff. This is maybe music to our ears.
Right.
The reason why we say that and we push the issue on Focus on Liberia is because in Liberia, Liberians in the diaspora and so forth, they've looked at Liberia, they've looked at the housing, they've looked at wanting to do things with housing at the institutional level, bringing investors and so forth. And they run into serious challenges and hurdles. And you seem to maybe have figured out how to navigate through some of those things to bring maybe potentially something to fruition. As you mentioned right now, nothing is solid, but you do have the MOU, so things are still in the works.
Mm-hmm.
Share with us a little bit about the approach. How do you approach, or how were you approached by either the NHA or the government of Liberia? I mean, how did this kind of come about where,
Okay. So going back 3 years, someone, a business person in the UK, there was a conversation over a period of several months of, why don't you look at Liberia? They kept saying to me, look at Liberia. And this actually wasn't a Liberian. They said, why don't you look at Liberia? So I just made some good connections out there, and I jumped on a plane and went out there. Did a lot of research beforehand and went on the plane out there. But I made sure that I had a good opening appointment. So my very first meeting when I arrived there 3 years ago was with Minister McGill and Chairman Gray, the chairman of the National Investment Commission. So it was like a breath of fresh air for me, really, because the projects that we looked at, I mean, we did actually look at, we had another organisation at the time who we was working with and looking at renewable energy, but that was just a passing a glance. So we, for the first, I was there for about 4 days, and I was really under the wing of Chairman Gray, and having a National Investment Commission, a couple of countries I've worked in before, they didn't have anything like that, and that was like a breath of fresh air. You didn't need to go knocking on the door of every large organisation, every ministry. The National Investment Commission took you to where you wanted to go to. So Chairman Gray set up all these meetings, and then we come back, and then there was a couple more trips of just a little bit more research. I found that trying to do this research on the internet, so you was only getting half the story. So the reason for keep going back there was to meet people, to talk to people, to get a feel for things, and it just developed. And then 18 months ago, whatever it was, when Celia Brown moved across from the Port Authority to, it was just perfectly well timed for us to the yes.
Mr. Fenwick, earlier you indicated that the arrangement or the conversation that you are having with the National Housing Authority in Liberia is more of a public-private partnership.
Yes.
So tell me a little more about that. And I am thinking that, okay, is the Liberian government going to provide? So what's the Liberian government going to provide? And what you and your company, if you are carrying a company, going to provide to make this public-private partnership possible? What is coming from each teams or groups or parties to this partnership?
Right. Okay. Well, it's really quite simple. The first thing you need when you're developing real estate is the land. So that's all being dealt with by the government, are providing that through the NHA. So that's what they're bringing to the table. So all these things have got to be fine-tuned and detailed on our next trip. So they will be providing the land. We're not going out there to build private estates for wealthy businessmen, whether they're in Liberia or the diaspora. So we want this to be a public-private opportunity as well as the public-private partnership. So that's what they'll be bringing to the table. What we'll be bringing to the table is the investment, the construction, and the funding for the mortgages. So, and that's, I think that's where we saw if you look at a country and you look at a business sector and you see why it hasn't worked before, if you keep trying to do the same, Albert Einstein said, insanity is keep doing the same and expecting different results. So we started looking at it differently with an awful lot of research, and that's why I kept going out there. And so, well, actually, there's no point.
Mr. Fenwick, you answered my question. So you guys going to bring the money and you're going to bring the development aspect of it, the technical skill, and you said government going to provide the land. Are you sure the government is not going to put some money in this partnership? They're only going to provide the land and that's it?
There's no need to put money into it from the government.
Okay, then let's come to the ownership or the management of the property. Tell me, given what's been discussed, who's going to manage the property and how is any proceed that will come from there be shared between the two parties?
Right, okay, so because if someone wants to buy a house outright for cash, then they will automatically be given the title, the deeds to that. Okay. But if they have it on a mortgage, then until that mortgage is paid in full, that land, the actual title of that will be with the LBDI bank, just the same as it is with a mortgage company in the US or a mortgage company in the UK.
So why are you mentioning the LBDI bank? Is the LBDI bank putting money in it?
We're providing the LBDI bank with the funding to offer mortgages.
Okay, so it will be the financial institution that will administer the funds. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
But
yes.
you are providing the funding.
Yes.
Okay, so but that is very excellent. Let's talk about the other countries where you have operated before. Tell me the success story. I know you just said you're in Ghana and Ivory Coast. What is the success story that you can share that we can look at?
Well, the success story is a little bit difficult, Anthony, really, because I actually wasn't involved with the Clifton Africa projects in Ghana or in the Ivory Coast. I was involved with them in the East Africa, on trips with them in East Africa. But that's a little bit difficult with that because it's an ongoing situation and it's completely separate. I mean, when you're an organisation, a group of companies, you have the separate company for each country. You don't for various reasons, and that's an ongoing project. So I just know the numbers. If you look on, if your viewers want to look on the Clifton Africa website, it's literally just cliftonafrica.com. There's an awful lot of information on there. So I'm not in a position to share with you, apart from the numbers, of the success and the story. I know the numbers, but I don't know the story. I wasn't involved in that.
Are you making profit? Are you making profit? Because the goal of the businessman, a deal maker like Fenwick, is to cash out, and that's the essence of business. So tell me, you don't have to give me specific numbers. Are you making profits in these other countries that you are operating?
Yes.
No, I want to ask this. Look,
you're going to ask how much profit are you, William?
No. We got to move you from the warm to the hot seat. The hot seat question is this: when do you build? Are you, once these deals are signed, is Clifton going to be building immediately? Yes. Can we expect them to be building?
You'll start seeing the yellow machines in there towards the end of January.
Yeah. Now, are you going to be responsible for that, or is that your exit?
That's no. Me personally, I am actually going to oversee this whole project. Liberia is my baby. I brought Clifton and the investors to Liberia, so I will oversee it. I will have the hard hats on, but I won't be. Nothing technical for me, just overseeing it and managing it and babysitting, I think, is probably an easier way to explain.
Now, when you said you're going to target, let me keep him here for a while. When you say you're going to maybe target, on one side, you said you would target the diaspora. And then on the other side, you said definitely you're not building for some of the wealthy Liberians. For us, Liberia, when you're in the diaspora, you go to Liberia, you consider a wealthy client. So tell us, how are you going to target are your specific building, is it targeting just the diaspora or local citizens? And at what price point are you going to be building the homes?
Okay, we are going to be building homes in Liberia for Liberians. It's as simple as that. Now, we're not prioritizing people from Grand Cru or people from Magibby. I hope I've got the names correct. We're going to be building our first development will be 2, 3 and 4 bedroom homes. And then we're also looking at within there some lower cost apartments so that to bring the price down. Now, the plan is that and these can be built very quick. I think you want to ask me a bit later about the building techniques. It's a faster way of building them. So by building a showcase community of 2, 3 and 4 bedroom homes, it gives people the opportunity to see what we can build and the quality of them and the price ranges. So, and then it would be foolish of us not to market this. So you planted this seed somewhat, William, when we had our last interview about the US diaspora, and as I said, the ambassador Gibson Schwartz was very, very keen to promote it. She spent most of her time in the US anyway before she came to the UK, and she said you'd be crazy not to offer it to the diaspora. So we won't be cherry picking. We won't be selecting. So no, as X amount of houses for the locals, X amount for the diaspora. We're going to build a showcase of certain types of a range of homes, and then from there we will get a feel for. This is why we're doing it in phases. This is going to be phase 1. Then we'll get a feel for how we can scale that up. Obviously, where we go into, that there'll be enough land there to increase.
Certainly, Mr. Fenwick. Again, folks in cyberspace, you are watching Focus on Liberia. We are in an exclusive with Mr. Fenwick. He is making all the efforts to start investing in Liberia in the housing industry. There is an MOU, according to him, that is on his decks, and they are talking, trying to finalize things so that investment can get started in Liberia. We're talking about the housing industry, which creates a very huge potential, let's say opportunity for us in the diaspora to go and be able. Some of us are paying 2,000, 2,005 United States a month. And the homes, according to him, they are trying to build will be maybe 100 times cheaper than that amount. So that should be an opportunity for most of us. But my question, Mr. Fenwick, tell me, how much have you set aside for the first phase of the investment? Dollar amount, I want to know. And how many homes would that total amount cover according to your plan?
100 million is we have allocated investment fund availability, 100 million US dollars.
Okay.
Okay.
And based on your calculation, that 100 million should get you an estimated homes of what? How many?
Well, we are actually starting the very first phase in January. We're looking at just what we refer to as the showcase development of using a percentage of that. We don't want to run out of money halfway through this, so we've got 100 million with access to more of this. You make the first 30 million, 25 million work well, and then others will follow. There'll be more funding available. So we plan to be building 30 to 40 homes in phase 1 of a cross section of homes, 2, 3 and 4 bedroom homes. So
is your source of funding from where's your source of funding source? Is it where's the source?
Okay, well, it's actually that's where we seem to be quite different from what we've seen as others to do. The Clifton, if you look on the website, the board of directors of Clifton mostly have banking. The chairman has a British political background, so there's quite a lot of money coming in from family offices. So extremely high net worth businessmen that have then it's not individual money. It's what we refer to as family offices in the UK.
Okay, so you are looking into the private placement world. So you're looking at the fact that this money is from private side. What it is that we are in Liberia. We have been around the carousel many times in Liberia, and we've had EBOMAF, and we have had other incidents coming on where this kind of great opportunity presents itself. And so we're here looking at it and say, hey, is this 30, 40 homes going to be built and then that's it? You have only a MOU, or is it something that will continue? And the people want to know is, are you targeting, or is there any way for a Liberian in the diaspora that would like to be a part, not just buying the home, but maybe they want to be on the investment side?
Two questions there, William. The 30 homes is just going to be our showcase home. It's I'm sure they do this in the US. I've been there several times, but not looked at real estate. That's really just going to be the showcase. We are not going to get anywhere near our return on building 30 homes. The whole thing is scalable. We need to set up the steel works there and train the local labour. It would be crazy just to build 30 homes. We would like to build 20,000 homes. We don't want to stop at 20,000. We don't want to. We don't want to be king of the world in Liberia for property, but those things could work up. So the whole thing is scalable, and I think what's made our project more realistic is we haven't gone in there and said we're going to build 50,000 homes. We will make the first 2,000, 3,000 homes so attractive that we would like to be in a position to continue. So, and then it becomes a much more economic build, because it's the whole thing. As we scale up, the price scales down. Now, with regard to investment, do forgive me. This is I'm going to be very careful in saying this. The diaspora can invest in houses and through mortgages, which we're going to be making available, and there'll be announcements with that shortly through the LBDI Bank. We're working with the LBDI Bank because it's wholly it's a Liberian bank. A lot of the other banks that we looked at just from the outside in Liberia are foreign owned. So we're going to be working with the LBDI Bank, and we're working very close with their CEO and their president, Mr. John Davies. So the diaspora, whether it's US or UK diaspora, can invest in our houses. They can buy our houses. They can access mortgages to those houses. Now, can they invest in our company? No, not at the moment, and you'll understand why. But in the very near future, there may be an opportunity to invest in our current company through the London Stock Exchange. I can't say any more than that because it would be wrong.
All right. Thank you so very much, our folks in cyberspace. This is Focus on Liberia. It is our Thursday special. Mr. Fenwick is making all the effort through his company to start investing in real estates in Liberia. And we are in an exclusive with him. He said 100 million has been set aside for the first phase of their investment in Liberia, creating an opportunity for Liberians in Liberia and also outside of Liberia to be able to purchase these homes and pay on a monthly basis. That would be an excellent situation. But we really want to know, Mr. Fenwick, you have been in business for how long?
40 years.
40 years. And in your 40 years of business experience, what are the individuals you have worked along with? Are there some names that you can share with us who have some credible record in terms of business or businesses that, we can point to or you can point to?
I don't really understand the question, Anthony. Sorry, big pardon.
Who are your partners? Any names? Give me names of some of your partners, people that you have done business with in other places other than Liberia.
Right. So in my 40 years experience, most of my business has been as me through my companies. Then you work with various partners, but at the present moment, which is the appropriate one, the people on the board, people behind the board of Clifton Africa, is their CEO is Kim Richardson. Now Kim is he's got 40 odd years of investment, merchant banking, investment banking behind him.
Okay.
Kim comes from a long line of business. Kim's father, late father, was Sir Michael Richardson, who was the business advisor to Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher. So Kim has all that experience. Also on the board, the chairman of the company is you've got Nick, who's coming to Nick Bryant, who's coming to Liberia with me. Nick has been in the business in the US.
All right, Mr. Fenwick, that is good enough. From our research yet, we learned that you and Sir Anthony Badre, and correct me for his last name, I'm not sure I'm pronouncing it right, were sometime in Somalia doing business, and then Somaliland doing business.
Yes.
So let's start with Somalia. When you started there, what kind of business did you do there? And what is the success story? Is that business still in existence?
No. I went to Somalia 3 times in 2012, between 2012 and 2014, to look at business opportunities. And after 3 visits, we backed out. We didn't do anything. We didn't invest anything. We didn't do any business because of the political situation.
So our understanding is that your business you had in Somalia, which is the Somalia, what is it called? Yeah, Somali Resources Limited. That company you said is dissolved.
Yes.
Is that true?
Yes.
And so you did not make any profit there?
No, we didn't trade. We didn't lose any money either. We didn't trade in there at all. We didn't. We looked at the opportunities, and sometimes you look at opportunities, you spend time, you spend money developing things, and it didn't. Nothing become of it.
So, how long have you been working with Sir Anthony Badre? How long you have been in business partnership with him?
I'm not in business partnership with Sir Anthony Baldry.
Okay, all right. So we understand that you've been involved with about 11 businesses that are dissolved. Is that true?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So then, when you were doing business in the Anglo-Somaliland Resources, that company at some point secured an exclusive fishing rights, license issuance right. And is that true?
Yes.
So what is the status of that business now?
The status of business is because of the political situation in the country, we're just, it's dormant, it's asleep.
So that business is no more?
It's just, it hasn't dissolved, it's just not, it's not trading. The political situation in the country is just not suitable for external investors to go in there at the moment.
So then let's come to the deal that you got at the time, because you said you are a deal maker, and so I just trying to establish here whether in your deal making you look out for the best interest of your partners, or you are more so looking on your side. The deal that you got, which is the exclusive right for issuing fishing licenses in Somaliland, and not only that, exclusive right in fishing into their territorial waters, you struck the deal and you got 60% commission on each license that you had to issue. So Somaliland was getting only 40%. In your opinion, was that a fair deal?
It would have been a fair deal had we sold any licenses. We didn't develop it, Anthony. As I said, we got the deal, but because we couldn't get, the political situation was so unstable, and there was a change of government while we was there. Yes, the deal would have been beneficial for all of us. The government at the time weren't getting any percentage from anyone. But you see what happens is the press reported it because of the political situation there, the opposition. But the reality of it is we didn't make any money. We didn't sell any licenses. So no one lost or no one benefited from it. There is an awful lot of
I get that you didn't sell any license, you didn't make any money, but I'm looking at the deal because I'm looking at you in Liberia now. I'm trying to see how is Liberia going to benefit fairly because your previous deal you should have gotten or the deal had given you 60%. So I'm looking at that 60% because Somaliland have given you that right to issue license. That is
Yeah,
their kind of royalty there. And then their territorial water, that's another thing that they own. So what did you or were you bringing to the table at the time for which you were getting a huge percentage, 60%?
because the situation in Somaliland that they didn't have, because it's an unrecognised country,
Mm-hmm.
they didn't have a fisheries regime. So the whole idea of that deal and that percentage in that level was that it was a cost to the cost of the government of zero.
Mm-hmm.
We was doing all the setup costs at the time for the government to get 40%, which was very lots of comments and it was criticised at the time. But the reality of it was that the government were getting zero until had we have actually executed that deal and been successful in it, the government wouldn't be questioning the fact why they're only getting 40%. As years went on, that percentage the balance would have tipped the other way. But at the time, they were getting nothing from those fisheries. It was mostly illegal fishing in those areas. But it was a very ambitious deal. That's what happens sometimes in business. You look at these ambitious deals, you go there, you use all of your competence and your skill to put these deals together. But unfortunately, unless you're a safe down the middle of the road businessman, you are going to come across some deals that you put together that just don't get executed and they don't succeed.
And,
But
and
they
Mr.
didn't.
Finway, that deal was eyebrow raising to the point that a lender in the United Nations Security Council report, and one thing that was outstanding at the time was the fact that during the signing of the deal, your company gave 500 United States dollars as the signing bonus. 500, not not thousand, as the signing bonus, and then you also had what you call an annual 200,000 annually to be given to the Somaliland government at the time. In your opinion, was that fair?
No, those figures are not. We didn't pay any money to the government at all.
Mm-hmm. So
Well, I mean,
the $500, according to the story, and they also appear in the United Nations report. So what was the 500 for?
I have no idea. We didn't pay any money to them. There was no. We paid for the administration, the documentation, which was dealt with by lawyers in the UK. So there was no money there. Some of these reports, the United Nations report was wholly inaccurate, and it was actually they published a apology about it after they accused us of breaking sanctions, but there were no sanctions.
So the report you said was erroneous, so they had to apologize to your company at the time.
Yeah, it was
And
published as well.
and also there's this other company, the European Somaliland Business Timber Limited. That business is also dissolved. Similar
Yeah,
similar reason.
we at the time that was before the UK got involved in Brexit discussions, and then obviously Brexit deal. So the ambition there was to try and create a UK European Somaliland corporation. There's lots of UK companies and European companies were looking for opportunities. So just set up the company, because effectively all you're doing is you're just buying the name, we're creating the name, and it just sits there. It didn't trade, it didn't make, it didn't lose. It was just an on-the-shelf organisation that started. So that nothing become of that.
So what we see in a little pattern we see in your business dealing is that you are always in country that have either come from war or have weak institutions. What opportunity do you see? I mean, these are places that have weak institutions. The people there are economically and politically vulnerable. And then for some reason, you see this opportunity that others tend not to see. Why?
Well, I don't quite know whether you're Liberian, Anthony, so I'm not going to challenge you, but I don't see Liberia as a weak institution.
Okay. All right. So you met with Nathaniel McGill and you met with Grade, who having to be the head of the National Investment Commission. Liberia is my country that I love. I want you to succeed in Liberia with that kind of investment. And this is what I'm asking these questions because
Yes,
I
I
want the
understand.
hope that you are suggesting to us should materialize, not only that you may profit, but so that Liberians can have affordable homes. But Liberia has a history of officials asking for bribes for investment. We have history of that, and I can cite them up, but for the sake of this show, let me not bore you with that. Did the officials there ask you for any money?
There has never been any reference from anyone I've met in Liberia or Somaliland or any of those other countries. There is no reference from that at all. I don't quite know that the reputation is go to these countries, everyone wants a bribe. I've never experienced it. We have my company spent about $30,000 on legal fees for an anti-bribery and corruption policy. That's part of our organisation documents.
Thank you so very much. And my final question, and I can bring William in, and then we'll come to the percentage, the interest, and all that on these homes that you intend to build. When we had you and Celia Brown, and I may be completely wrong on my observation, she was more like very protective of you. She was like angry. And you, she and you, the both of you came here to talk about an investment that you are trying to get into in Liberia. But she was more like protective of you, and and she was angry. She was angry that people were asking her legitimate questions, and you sat there and you were looking. What was going through your mind that time?
I didn't realise she was protective of me. I'm flattered to think that she was. That's for such a senior person. Celia is. I can't speak for her opinion, but she's a very dedicated, passionate believer in what she's doing. And I think she was protective of the situation there. She was protective of the fact that she spends every waking hour trying to encourage not just my companies, but others, to international companies to go invest in Liberia. I do think that I felt that she was being, but then that she was being a little bit unfairly criticised for what she was trying to do. But that's what happens when you're in a government organisation. I'm fully aware of that. It happens on a business level. When you're on a business level and government, then it's expected. So that's why Celia was more than capable to answer those questions. So she didn't need me to interrupt her or speak for myself. She said enough for herself at the time.
All right, William, you come in.
Yeah, thank you. Do you have a vetting process for those investors to make sure that they're not part of any anti-money laundering?
Absolutely.
Okay. What's the targeted ROI you think you guys are looking at? You can give a range.
ROI for our company?
For the investment in Liberia, yeah.
Okay, so at the moment we are not. It's all internal. So we're not looking at public investment.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned something. Liberians may invest to the purchase of homes.
Yeah. So, but investing in the purchase of homes means that they can buy homes. If they buy them and rent them out, that's up to them. So all effectively, they're just buying real estate.
Okay. So in essence, they're not partakers in their economy. What they are consuming. They're going to be consuming to the purchase of the home. We have.
If they become consumers, William, if they become consumers, then they're contributing to the economy, surely.
Yes, but we are more than that. Is we want to be partakers from the investment side. We want to be on the other side.
Can we come back to this? Can we come back to this at the end of January with because this is something that obviously because it's a stock exchange situation, I can't discuss it at the moment. I'm sure that
No
any of your investors watching it. So
yeah. Well,
we're not ready for that yet, but we will be soon.
Right. I think from this end, it's very unfortunate because you know, for the longest time we want to be part of it to the point where we want to make sure that it gets done. Let me take a step back and let me just say this, that we had a situation in Liberia where great companies that are traded on the stock exchange and so forth in the capital markets. Liberia doesn't have access to the capital market. So that conversation right now, it's whether it comes now or later, is still a little bit difficult to digest. But the main issue we're having here is with Silvestre, they've yet to put in the 150 kilometers of rail that they said they were going to do. And they didn't say, we're going to do it. They said, we may do it. And that impacted the stock market, and that impacted the stock price, and the prices went up. And they benefited, but the Liberian people didn't. And there's no development in Liberia. So how do we know with Clifton? You seem to reference Clifton more often, but we are expecting when these things come out and they're made available, we want to make sure that the shovel gets in the ground and that, you know, stuff is indeed getting built and getting developed.
Okay. On that, that's quite important, William. We are not a public quoted company. We're coming in there with our investments, and we're going to put the shovels in the ground, and we're going to start building. And then the public quoted company situation could arise in the near future. So we're not doing it the same way as the people you referred to. We're not raising stock prices by saying we're going to go and conquer Liberia's health.
No problem. Now we're coming to the viewers. They're saying, hey, I want to get into these homes. Of course, you mentioned earlier you have about 4 sites that you're going to be looking at.
Yes.
You disclose those sites right now, but you have 4 sites. So to our listeners and people asking, you have to wait a little bit until they determine the site. But they're asking the question about interest rate with LBDI, and where's the explain that interest rate.
Okay, so that's one of the things that we saw as a huge obstacle in Liberia. First of all, mortgages weren't available. I think yourself or Anthony said that in your introduction, that mortgages weren't available in Liberia because money wasn't available. Those people that were able to get mortgages, whether they were the local people or diaspora, it was at ridiculously high interest rates. I mean, we saw by the time there was administration fees, we saw 12-14% interest rates. So what our research, I mean, it's you're just speaking to Ian Fenwick, the deal maker here now, but we have a risk analysis team in London, and we're supported by quite a capable team of people that come up with the research. So what we actually discovered was that in some cases, it wasn't the housing that was unaffordable, it was the mortgages that was unaffordable. So, and then what happens is that just slows everything down. So that's where our cooperation with LBDI Bank came into it, is that LBDI Bank, regardless of their interest rates, there are limits on the amount of money they can get from Central Bank or from World Bank or any of the international banking organisations. So our approach is to develop and build the houses, and then fund the LBDI Bank with a mortgage fund. So the LBDI Bank can now offer mortgages. They can use our funding for buying mortgages for our properties only. Now, there's 2 reasons for that. We don't want to fund another developer for 2 reasons. One is we want to build it all ourselves as much as we can, but we don't want to say to people, well, you're building your own house, we can't mortgage you. We don't know the quality of the build, and that's not being disrespectful to any of the developers. I've seen a few out there and they look fabulous. So we're limiting it to ours. So it looks like, and all these things will be announced after we're there at the end of next week. So we're having to take a step back at the moment because of the midterm elections out there, and we didn't want anything to get political. They're looking to be offering at 8%, mortgage rates 8%.
Thank you, Ian. Well, let me read some comments yet. Ian, and you can respond. If there is any question that you already answer, you don't have to answer it again. Just answer any question that you may not have answered. This one is from Soclotier. If any company can make it easier for diaspora Liberians to mortgage homes in Liberia without too much transfer or transaction fee, will unlock the full potential of money diaspora Liberian investment. Land ownership is still a problem. Land has been sold to multiple people. Someone building on your land, it's difficult to get them out because you are not there. And it's difficult to find trusted individuals to help you build your house. This one is from Walama. What percentage your company usually ends up owing in this type of partnership? Jackie Sayer, how is civil society, not just the government, involved in the planning? Jackie again, what percent interest, she asked. This one is for Walama again. He said the government will provide the land. This one is from Kekula. Ian, I am a Liberian who lives in the UK. How can I contact you? So Ian, be prepared to say that. And this one is from Jackie. Are there plans to build in other counties? Ian said, not likely for now, but maybe in the future. This one is from Seku Asumana. What is the term of the mortgage when those homes are built? Tier again. Many Liberians in the U.S. are low-income people making anywhere between $80 to $25 an hour. How can your company target the vast majority of Liberians in this group? And so this one from Seku again, it should have been at least the opposite, 60 for the government and 40% for the company. That was when I was talking about the previous deal you had in that place. This one from Seku, Mr. Fenwick, provide FOL the MOU you got from Liberia, from the Liberian government, so we can actually see what is in it. So people are curious to know what is in that MOU. Please respond to those quickly.
Okay, well, from the last one backwards, the content of the MOU, it's two document agreements that we've reached with the National Housing Authority. An MOU is exactly what it is. It's a memorandum of understanding. So it shows that our both parties level of commitment, and it sets out what we're going to do. And that's quite simply from our part. We're going to bring investment into to the country, and we're going to develop and build homes. Now, these are not going to be individual homes, which leaps across to another question, which I shall come to in a moment. We're going to build them on allocated land by the NHA. So that I've seen out there the problem with other people in the US or in the UK, they can't see who's building on their land. There'll be a scrupulous due diligence on the land ownership. There's no point us building 30, 40, 50, 60 homes on a plot of land if it doesn't belong to whoever it says it. So whether it's the National Housing Authority, the government, or they'll deal with the local landowners. We are outsiders. We're not going to be dealing with the local landowners. So with regard to a couple of things there, the gentleman that said, how can he contact me in the UK? I'm happy for you to, I can give my email address over the air if you'd like me to do that.
All right, like me to give you my email? You can pull our email address here in the chat. Then we'll get it to that person who asked the question.
Okay, yeah. Mm-hmm. So it's quite simply my email address. And then the percentage we're looking at, obviously it's to be confirmed, but there's no point us funding LBDI Bank at a good rate and LBDI Bank just making all their money on high interest rates, because then it makes the homes unaffordable again. So the figure we're looking at is 8%. Now, obviously, all these things have got to be confirmed at the moment. So that's the interest rate. But coming back to the contents of the MOU, it's an MOU and a strategic partnership agreement. It's our structure of the documents that we require. And what that sets out is just sets out that we are going to come in, we're going to build houses. They've got they have all of the, not necessarily interested in the design, but the range of houses, the type of homes that are being built. Obviously, we understand the climate and the seasons out there. And then for the National Housing Authority, their contribution, their part of the agreement is that to deal with the land. So once the houses are built, to promote and market them, and then within that there'll be a real estate division. We're not going to be handing them over to a local real estate agent. We're going to keep this as a public-private partnership. So the more people with their noses in the trough, then the more the prices go up. So we're going to try and keep it as compact as we can.
Thank you very much. And somebody is asking a question, the price range. In Liberia, when they say price range, they want to know what would be the minimum cost of each of the homes and what would be the maximum cost for each of the homes.
Right. There's no maximum cost. If someone wants to, contact us from Liberia or the USSR with like an 8-bedroom villa on that plot of land, we will obviously consider that. We're looking at two-bedroom homes for 25. This is not concrete prices at the moment. 25,000 for 2-bedroom homes. 3-bedroom, 4-bedroom, 25, 35, 40, 50. All these things that we will probably have more details on them when we start marketing them immediately after Christmas. So our trip next week, we'll get back and we'll find detail that. But because we are fully aware of people, the lower income people, or people that perhaps don't want to spend that much money on them, that they will want houses as well. So we are going to be looking at apartments. Apartments for us are easier to build and more economical to build than houses. So we are going to be looking at some very, very stylish. That's what we're building in Ghana, and it's a much more scalable way of doing things. But we don't feel that we don't want to blight the beautiful countryside of Liberia with apartment blocks everywhere. So there'll be quite low level apartments, maybe 2, 3, 4-story apartments, and that will bring the price down. But when our civil engineers join us on our trip next week, then we'll be more specific. We know how much it's going to cost to build them. We're just going to look at the land, the facilities there, and so on. So we know that I think I took 250 photos of just land alone when I was there in September. So.
All right. Will people be allowed to pay cash down? Because those homes will have value on it. Like, for example, my house here is $350,000. If I get the money today, I can tell the bank, hey, yeah, your money in the house is mine. So I'm asking, in Liberia, people like me who have plenty of money can show up and say, hey, this one, I'm buying the cash down. Would that be allowed?
Oh yes, welcome. Come
okay.
and tell all your friends. Of course, the more people. No, sorry, I'm not making light of it. It just makes me smile that that situation. The more people that pay cash for their houses, the more funds we have available to fund mortgages. So this is why we're looking at a cross section, Anthony. So it's and this is why it's important to now include the diaspora, because. It won't be the diaspora. We've looked at this in great detail. It won't be the diaspora taking homes from the local people that need it more. That will never be the situation with us.
All right. So tell me about the facilities that will be in these homes. What all you intend to put in these homes as you build them?
with regard to the community or the actual houses. So obviously there'll be a shell.
The houses. When you build them and furnish them, or individuals will furnish them by themselves.
We're not furnishing them. No,
no.
We're just building new homes,
Mm-hmm.
And then people can, if they're buying them, they want slight alterations during the building stage, then they can do that if they want to buy off plan. But no, we won't be furnishing them. That's not our business. If that's a business opportunity for a local furnishings company in Liberia, if they wanted to do that, but we haven't. Not something we want to do.
So, so let's talk about electricity, and so they will have toilets. There will be sewage system built. Will there be fresh toilets built in them? Have
Yes.
you talked about those things too?
We've looked in that in great detail,
Mm-hmm.
and one of the things, there was pages and pages of notes from my trips out there, and all these things are going to come together when we go next week with the civil engineers. We don't want them to be remote village homes. There's no point putting homes of this level in there without utility facilities. So yes, there'll be electricity, and there'll be water, and sewage, whether it's tank sewage or whatever. All those things will be put in place.
So tell me, in the planning process of these properties in various communities, are you taking into consideration, okay, you're building the properties here, you're talking about maybe 50 homes or 60 homes here, will land spaces be made available for things like schools, so that people that will be living in that area will be able to access those schools, and also other shopping centers? Is that in the plan too, as you continue to work on this?
Yes, very much so. Very much so. Yes, we spoke a lot about building homes, but what we actually want to do is develop communities.
Mm-hmm.
I think we have to look at people's way of life in certain countries, and it's an admirable thing when you're living in the UK and in London. I'm fortunate enough to be in the countryside now, and we always envy village or communities, and so I think that's something that we would like to.
So that means there will be recreational places too. Liberian we play the real football, not the one they play in America. They call I call it handball. We play the real football down there. You know that, you play the game. You are Arsenal fan.
I understand your president used to be quite good as well, didn't he? We know about football.
Mm-hmm.
That's my passion. So yes, I fully understand that. Everyone in Liberia, all the children have got football jerseys on. So yes, I understand that. Yeah, to have a football pitch on every house in the community, that would just make me go out there once every 2 months and spend time out there playing football with the kids.
All right. Thank you. Let me ask you a final question. So earlier I was asking about Sir Anthony Bryan, and from my research yet, you have worked with him for some time. There have been a lot of accusations against him. Let me put his picture on the screen. He has served in the British Parliament for over 33 years, and he's a lawyer, he's a barrister. And while he was in Parliament, he was also doing some work. I understand he's been involved with 36 complaints, and most of the complaints have out of field in less than 1 year and 2 years. And he started this complaint. I believe you were there also. The company is called Liberia Maritime Resources Limited. He was terminated as the director of that company at some point. So I guess my question is, it said that you and him have this history of starting complaints, and there's not much success, and those complaints shutting down in a short period of time.
No, actually, what happens is that obviously there's when you're a politician, whether you're in the UK, the US, or Liberia, when you're in politics, you're there, your head's above the wall for many targets. So I'm not going to defend Tony Baldry because he doesn't need me to defend him. Now, Berber Maritime Resources is just, again, another company that it was set up because we had big plans for the fisheries project in Somaliland. Berber is the port in Somaliland, and I've been there with Tony Baldry several times. But the fact that we started the company, all it is you're registering it. I don't quite know how it works in the US, but you just register that company. Anyone that wants to go into the back pages of it, there's no profit, there was no trading, there's no debt with it. So it was registered, but it didn't develop. So it just went away. It's a bit like buying a shirt that you left in the wardrobe, you didn't unwrap it, you didn't wear it, and then threw it away a year later. It's as simple as that. There's no underlying story on it. I'm not quite sure. Obviously, you're welcome to ask the questions. Why you'd be distracted with that? So Tony Baldry is not involved in this company now, so it's quite irrelevant, really.
Yeah, because this complaint, you were appointed as the director in 2017, and this company is no more. There's another affiliate, and there's so many. And I'm asking the question, it's not to put you in a difficult situation. It's because I'm thirsty for a success in Liberia with what you're trying to do. But when I look at the history of companies you've been with, short lifespan, and then, not much success there. So I want to be able to get a home. Many Liberians want to be able to get a home. I know the Liberian situation might be different. I see opportunity as well as challenges. But, with this history, I'm a little worried. Should I?
Good heavens, no. What is there to lose for you or for Liberia is if we come out there and we build houses and we invest and no one buys, who we're the only one that will lose. We're not taking investment from Liberians. If they decide to pay outright for a house, they won't. That money will be secured with the bank, the national bank. It'll be our bank until that house is completed and handed over to them. So it's a little bit of a red herring, as in, what's the concern? We're not raising money through a public offering. We're not asking Liberians or Americans to invest in our very, very, very ambitious project. We're going to build houses. It's as simple as that. And in doing that, we're going to be the result of building the houses is affordable homes is to employment.
My fear there is that, okay, you secure this private or public-private partnership, and your share there is very impressive, and after you secure this, and then you reach out to a much more company in a better financial position, and then you sell your part of the deal, and you cash out, and you walk away. And maybe their company now started having a hard time. People are not paying because many people in Liberia are not working to earn enough money to make their payments. It collapse on their hands. You walk away. You're smiling. They have the trouble.
Right. Okay. The situation there is, if I understand that rightly, is that if people in Liberia buy a house and they have a mortgage and they're not able to pay the mortgages, then that's for the bank. We're not the mortgage company. We're not the bank. That's for the bank to be dealing with. We're not an international external company or financial organisation to come in there and deal with that. That's why we spent 3 years to find the right organisation to partner with. We didn't want to set up a mortgage company in Liberia. People will have to, if they buy a property and they fail to make the payments, there'll be the law of the country that will deal with that in whichever way they see. We'll have no control of that. So obviously, if 1,000 people buy homes and they don't pay for them, then we've got a challenge. So, but that's just a normal mortgage loan situation. We're not pulling the strings on that. We're not making any laws or any terms and conditions. That would be standard Liberian banking mortgage transactions.
All right, Ian. Again, thank you for taking the tough questions yet. I want to remind you, I want this to succeed.
Thank you.
Liberia has this history of investors going to Liberia, raising people hopes. And I don't know of any company in Liberia that has been investing up to the skills that you are trying to do along with your company in Liberia. And we want it to succeed. And that is what I'm asking you all these tough questions. And it's not to say, oh, you are not a genuine investor, but again, your history is something that we need to look at to be able to tell whether this gonna succeed. Again, we can't thank you enough. We wish you well. We hope this public-private partnership between you and the Liberian government will succeed. And I want to remind you there is an opportunity that last diaspora Liberians will definitely seize on this opportunity to buy homes in Liberia, something we always wanted to do, but there has not been a company in Liberia to carry on this kind of investment. And so you have an opportunity. The challenge there also, you should be reminded, is that many people in Liberia are not making enough maybe to make payment. So as you develop these properties, these homes, I hope that you will take all those into consideration so that you can succeed, so that Liberia can succeed. I will ask you for your parting statement, and then we'll end the broadcast.
Okay, well, thank you very much. The questions were absolutely fine. I don't have a problem with the challenging questions. I think asking those questions just clears the air, so that's fine with me. I think it's just a case of I can see where the anticipation is that no one's coming to Liberia with this level of investment before, and lots of other people have promised. As I said at the very beginning, it's about doing things differently, looking over the horizon. If we wanted this to be a safe option, we would have gone to UAE or Dubai or somewhere like that. There's no point just doing that. Everyone else has been there and done it all. So sometimes you just have to look outside of the box and look at these opportunities, and that's what we're doing. One of the questions that was put to me before was, did I go there? What made me decide on Liberia? Liberia, to me, I went there, and my first 2 trips, I wanted to look. There's no point meeting the government. You have to be out on the streets and meeting the people and talking to people, and which I feel absolutely safe, by the way. Lots of people say, is it safe there? Yes, it is safe. And so the situation with Liberia is it's a country that you've had so much hardship. You've had 2 civil wars, and you've had Ebola in the last 20 odd years. And what I see now with the people in Liberia, whether it's the diaspora or the people out there, is ambition and hope. And I don't think people want to go back to the hardships that they've all lived through recently. So I think people want to see, and this is seen through international investment as well. The company at the moment has stability. There's so much potential there that was the attraction to us to do it.
All right, that was the voice of our guest, Mr. Ian Fenwick. He is in Liberia, but he is a British national. And when I say he's in Liberia, his company is trying to invest in Liberia into the housing market. They're trying to build houses that they can give out for mortgage, and Liberians can have the opportunity to be able to own homes by making their monthly payment or by paying cash down, something he said that will be allowed. According to him, the MOU says that it will be a public-private partnership. This has not been done from the little I know in Liberia, and we hope that this is going to succeed. Mr. Fenwick, thank you so very much. We wish you well. We hope Liberia will be your success story. And we just hope that success story is something that you can point to as you continue your business journey as a deal maker and a businessman. Thank you for being here with us.
Thank you, Anthony. Thank you.
All right, folks, in cyberspace, this is how we'll come to the end of our broadcast. As always, our closing song, We Are All Liberians. Bye-bye.
We are Liberians. Liberia is our